It's over the pond with Fraser and John.
Quack. Come on,
Quack.
dude.
No, I was waiting for you to do it. Oh, what a disaster. It's over the pond with Fraser and John. Quack. There we go. How are we, everyone? Hello. Hello. How you doing, man?
Just so you guys know, before we started recording, we've been talking for 5 minutes, all right?
Yeah, this isn't like we just turned on the camera.
But the whole time we were talking, it was just like, okay, Fraser, so this is how the intro goes. And he just kept saying car, and he said over the truck. I was like, what are you even talking about?
We have to like do an entire like a script reading throughout the entire process of like just speaking beforehand. And John's like, he's like virtually slapping me. He's like, just say it, man, say it. But yeah,
so
hello, everyone.
Funny, dude.
That was just the one thing.
That was not planned, I promise.
I've done the intro twice and I've messed it up twice.
Yeah, I know.
I'll next week.
Okay.
Well, I can't do it next week because next week's your turn. But the week after next will
right.
be my time. But yeah, we got quite a lot to talk about today. I think so. I want to talk more about the Eugenia stuff and some stuff to do with a video that I deleted. We also want to talk about your co-host, Amberlynn Reid.
My co-host. You haven't made as many videos about her.
Not yet.
Also, I did read a comment, and apparently it's Eugenia.
Yes, I wanted to bring this up. Eugenia Cooney.
Eugenia Cooney. So
not Eugenia Cooney.
Apologies. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments.
You can say that it's just your accent. That's what you should have said. You should have been like, what do you mean? That's what I've been saying. It's just my accent. You don't understand.
I honestly think a lot of it does come down to my accent, but also we will try our best to say Eugenia Cooney. Yeah. It just doesn't roll off the tongue as well. But also,
it doesn't. Yeah. And honestly, she needs to change her name. You know,
we'll stop talking if you change the name. I also want to talk about a just now incoming story of. I'm going to read this headline out to you now.
Oh, God.
Netflix star Liver King Brian Johnson is arrested for making terroristic threats against Joe Rogan.
Yeah, dude. I actually was talking about that on. There's like a 5-minute video where it's like this guy John Bravo who does like he does like exposés basically on people in the fitness industry, but he did a video talking about it. It's gnarly. I watched the video on stream, and it's just like clearly he is on stuff. Like he was obviously on steroids and stuff, right? But like he is on other stuff right now, and it is.
He's bought some new liver,
dude. Like, but it's just sad. Like at this point, it's just obviously good riddance. I hope he goes to jail, and but I do hope he gets the help that he clearly needs, because I know that you said you want. Well, I think we could just talk about this because it's not that much, right? But like. I think the expose, everything that happened, right? I'm sure most people know, but like super quick overview, right? Liver King, super jacked dude that was promoting being natural. And the reason he got as jacked as he was because he was eating raw liver and raw meat, right? And then people were like, this is kind of crazy. Joe Rogan ended up having him on and promoted him, right? And
he went on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, he was on. That. He was, I'm pretty sure he was on. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe that was the lie. But he went on other podcasts. I think Joe Rogan talked about him on his podcast, which he was saying, I don't like him, but I think that still gave him a lot of attention, But he was like huge for about a year, right? And the reason, and I actually had people in my stream like why is this really a problem? Genuinely just not understanding like why he wouldn't just be honest about the steroids. I was like, the reason he wouldn't be honest about that is because when you're not and you tell people, the regular person that's not tuned into any health and fitness stuff, right? They see that and they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. He says he's natural and he's doing all this really weird stuff that no one else is doing. So maybe he's figured something out, right? But then obviously the reason it's a problem is because he starts selling things, right? He was selling supplements, selling all these programs, and he became very rich doing this, right? But then the way that he got caught is it's so unbelievably funny. Like the way he got caught is that he was talking to another YouTuber years ago, and this is a YouTuber, his name is More Plates, More Dates, who does videos. It's kind of similar to, he does like commentary videos, like expose videos, but he was talking to him because this guy, More Plates, More Dates, is someone that helps people with, performance enhancing things, right? And so he was like talking to him, asking him for advice and like saying, I want to work with you, so I want you to help me. And this was years ago. And then when Liver King got really popular, this YouTuber went through his emails and said like this, like he is faking it. Like, I know for a
Yeah.
fact. And then once that video came out, everything kind of crumbled and it was shown that he was, not natural. And so the reason I tell that whole story is because in the past year and a half since that's happened, maybe it's not been that long, he has just been going down,
spiraling,
right? Spiraling.
And it's kind of like something that happens, like usually when someone gets exposed, they go down certain pipelines, but this guy was already in a bit of a weird area. So it was like,
that is a good point. Yeah.
So where he was going to go after that weird area, it's like the fucking pits of the internet,
Dude,
man.
Literally, yeah. And so what has happened recently from what the video that I watched, which was only like a 5-minute video. So obviously I don't know too much, but he was like in Austin, I think, which is where Joe Rogan lives.
Yes,
or somewhere in Texas. And he was just saying, he was going on like making posts on Instagram and I think TikTok and saying, I'm going to find Joe Rogan. I'm going to find this guy, the guy, More Plates, More Dates. And I'm going to find the guy, John Bravo, who made the video that I watched, right? And he was basically saying, I'm going to hurt them or unalive them, right? And then what was even crazier was that his wife, who is the liver queen, was messaging this guy, John Bravo, saying, you're going to get what's coming to you. And she was like fully into it too. So I think they're both just really struggling mentally and with substances,
Like it definitely is like a hilarious situation that the liver king and liver queen are coming after Joe Rogan. Like, America's not a real place, but at the same time, he clearly is a very mentally ill man who definitely needs to get help. Doesn't necessarily justify the actions of basically stalking people and making threats against their life. Like, obviously, that's terrible, regardless of who it is. I'm sure Joe Rogan is going to have a banging podcast episode about all of this. Like, that's such easy content for him.
Maybe. I mean, not that I'm a huge Joe Rogan fan, but that is definitely a clip I would like to see. I
don't really watch. The only time I'll ever tune into Joe Rogan is maybe if he has a guest on that I like. Like, I saw he had Bernie on recently, and I was kind of interested in listening. I haven't listened to it, but like sometimes I may be swayed. I think I listened to like a bit of the Trump interview like last year, and it was just too much. I just couldn't get through it.
That's a whole crazy thing, man. Like the Joe Rogan changes, like because I remember when the beginning of the pandemic, he had an expert on that was like, this is very serious. And like, and I remember I was listening to it as I was driving to do a podcast with someone else. And I remember being like, oh, like this is actually serious. And it's just crazy how very different things are now. Because he is very
you can say that about
a
lot of, I mean, even who we're going to get into of like Eugenia Cooney, like seeing like her go from a very emo promoting person, like she promotes a lot of emo content and the brand of being an emo, to last year posting a lot of pro-Trump stuff. It's very interesting how like the dynamics of things have changed, and it's the world right now is so kind of hard to grasp of like what is the mainstream, because obviously if we're talking politics, I just saw in New York today, New York City elected a mayor that's a socialist, which was like, that's like one of the craziest things ever, in my opinion. New York City, like that's like the home of money, man. That's like Wall Street. People make money in New York. So to elect a socialist mayor, it's like, I don't even know where America is at. I feel like it's a very confused country.
It is. I mean, it's so large, right? Like it is. So there are so many different like viewpoints and how, and it's not even just different viewpoints. It's literally different lives. Like if you grew up, you were born and raised in, say, the South, your life and the things that you experienced are so vastly different than someone that was raised where I'm living now, right? The Northeast. Yeah. Because in the Northeast, and it's something that I even noticed myself being from, not the South, but like Southern California, the Northeast is much more diverse, man. It is, and this is the most liberal part of the United States. And I think a big part of that is the diversity, not to go on a tangent, but like it is, you are right. It is very confusing, like, because it's so big. There's so many people, there's so many ideas. And that's why I think it's so hard to have come to a consensus with us, you know? I
mean, America is kind of like if Europe was just one country. It would just make no sense. Like if you said to me one day, oh, Europe is going to become a country, that would be like, you can't do that. There's so many differing ideologies and opinions and beliefs and ways of living. Whereas America is like 50 countries put together. I believe it's 50 states, right? And soon to be 51 with Canada. And
I don't know about that.
that would be the most polarizing one, to be fair. But yeah, it's a very, very weird place. And I guess I'll keep track of the Liver King story. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe next week we'll have some further developments
Yeah.
in that, because honestly, I don't really know much about the Liver King. I'm reading some quotes now, and it's like, he says, "Joe Rogan, I'm calling you out. My name's Liver King, man to man. I'm picking a fight with you.
Yeah.
I have no training in jiu-jitsu. You're a black belt. You should dismantle me, but I'm picking a fight with you. Your rules, I'll come to you whenever you're ready." And apparently he was just driving around the location of where he believed Joe Rogan to be living.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking mental, man.
Yeah.
Genuinely. I mean, obviously I hope he gets help, but just thought it would be a little entertaining story to bring up today.
Yeah.
But with that, let's actually get into one out of two of our main topics that we're going to speak about today. Maybe we'll go into other stuff later, but yeah. So last week we spoke about Eugenia Cooney, and I will try my best to get the name right. And obviously it was like a much more serious episode than usual, because it's a very serious topic. And I was very glad to see the response we got. It was pretty much, from what I could see, overwhelming positivity, which in a conversation surrounding Eugenia Cooney, I am trying to say it, the accent doesn't help. In a conversation surrounding her, it's very rare, I think, to see a lot of people out there just have a constructive dialogue surrounding her. And in the midst of uploading that podcast and my video, I uploaded another video, which is no longer on my channel, and there are multiple reasons for that. But yeah, what I spoke about in that video was my issues with YouTube and how they treat the topic of eating disorders. Because, I mean, I think you already knew this, but when it comes to disorders in YouTube in relation to eating, YouTube are very, very sensitive.
Yeah.
And I think it comes from some rule changes they implemented in 2020. But basically what happened is my video was demonetized, which I kind of expected.
Yeah.
I expected our podcast to be demonetized, but weirdly it wasn't, which is kind of frustrating.
We don't get enough views. Just kidding.
Yeah, no, they didn't care about us. But it was the age restriction on my video that really irked me, because I did so much to get around the rules. I know what the rules and regulations are. I've been doing YouTube for around 8 years. In fact, I got a notification the other day being like, "You've been uploading videos for 8 years now." And I'm like, I know how this works. And in that video, I was very careful. I don't even think I went into the conversation kind of in specifics, going in detail about eating disorders. I mainly just referenced the fact that Eugenia is obviously very mentally ill in terms of some things. And I was very much towing the line and trying to have an important conversation, and it got age restricted. So I made a YouTube video where it was just me straight to the camera speaking about my issues with YouTube and how pretty much they are, in my opinion, censoring conversations surrounding eating disorders. And it didn't really make any sense to me, because YouTube for years and years now have promoted the conversation surrounding mental health. It's Men's Mental Health Month right now. But to me, the frustration comes in where it seems that the conversation surrounding mental health isn't about mental health. It's about a group collection of very non-taboo mental health related things to talk about, such as depression, anxiety. And yeah, in some cases, depression and anxiety is still a bit taboo. But overall in society right now, these are topics where, for the most part, it's considered very normal to speak about. But I'm frustrated that there is this other side of mental health in terms of eating disorders that is still so taboo that YouTube age restrict any video who even briefly touch on the idea. And now the reason I deleted that video, I even say in the video I'm probably going to delete the video, is merely down to the fact that I just didn't think it kind of suited my regular videos. I think it would be a bit of a weird video to come back to in like a year's time. It was more of like an update video, and I would have kept the video up if I didn't have this podcast, because I really feel like on here we could come in detail with it. I more just wanted to it was more of like a little update, like an Instagram story. It was there for about 15 hours. I took it down, and maybe I'll recover the situation and story in a second channel video in the future. I just didn't really feel like a 20-minute unscripted video suited the content that's currently on my channel. It's mainly there for like videos comprehensively covering a storyline, and maybe I was being a bit picky, but honestly, I just felt the best place for me to talk about it would be on this podcast with you, because I know you understand a lot of this. And yeah, that was pretty much my core foundations and my issues with this whole thing.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting watching the video because I was able to catch it, and obviously I think the thing that made me click on it was, well, I think part of it was that it wasn't 3 hours long, and I was like, okay, I can finish this while I'm doing my cardio here.
That video is the quickest it's ever took me to make a YouTube video.
Yeah.
I literally clicked record, done.
Yeah, so it sounded like a video I would do. But but yeah, I thought it was really interesting, and a lot of the points that you made, I think, were very solid, and I agree with, because obviously I've been affected, whatever, but like I understand what you mean when it comes to especially restrictive eating disorders, right? Like it feels like that is, and I don't know, this podcast will probably get demonetized with how much we're talking about it, but
it's probably going to get age restricted, but I think at this point it's like, this is why I wanted to talk about it on here, because I think most of our audience that watch these videos anyway are reoccurring subscribers. So I think most people will be able to watch it that are in a small core audience that we have over on this podcast. So I think it's valuable to have this conversation, and I don't think there's any pressure financially or the impact of our channel there. I think we can just say what we want to say. That's kind of why I wanted to leave that for this podcast, you know?
Yeah. And so like, it's something that I've noticed myself, because I used to make quite a bit of videos talking about my struggles with BED, which is binge eating disorder, if you don't know. And in a few of those videos, I just kind of talked about my experience with it. And then in one in particular, I think there's a couple, but there's one that I remember for sure. In the video, I say like, basically I give advice on if you ended up binging, like, advice on how to deal with that, right? And it was basically just something along the lines of like, don't beat yourself up, don't like try and over restrict, and in my opinion, good advice, nothing that's over the top, right? Nothing that I feel is like super unhealthy. But that video, and I made that video a long time ago, okay? Like I made that video probably 10 years ago, right? I've been putting videos out for a long time. And I think about a year ago, or maybe a little bit more, the video got not just demonetized, taken down completely.
Oh, whoa.
Like they took the video off of YouTube. Okay. And like, there's a big difference. Obviously I know you know this, but for the people that might not know, there is a very big difference between getting demonetized, which happens relatively frequently. Obviously the goal is to not let that happen, but there are no repercussions for it. The video stays up, and you can still find it, but it gets severely, repressed.
Severely
and like, it's any video that gets demonetized is never going to do well. It will almost always be on YouTube Studio 10 out of 10. Okay. And that's not good. Yeah. You want to be 1 out of 10.
And the age restriction is like that, but on steroids, with like a demonetization, you may still have a day of like growth on that video. With an age restriction, that shit's gone. That's done. Like that video, it's finished. It's not in the algorithm. It's nowhere. And half the people can't even watch it anyway, because you need an account to watch the video.
Yeah. And all of this is to say, like, I can understand maybe why they would do that. But what is frustrating is that it feels like you said in your video, that there are certain topics that they have decided are just, you're not allowed to talk about at all, no matter what you're saying. Like my video was about how to not binge eat. That was the point of the video, and sharing my story with it, right? It wasn't, this is what you should do, because there's certainly, I'm sure there are videos of people that are struggling with EDs, because it's a very big community, right? People that have struggled with anorexia, bulimia, all this stuff. Like there's a community of people that make videos and or just make posts and that are on social media that do encourage it, right? It does exist. I've seen it on Twitter.
I mean, there's a whole there's a whole community of people on social media, on Twitter, with a name for their community where they promote this type of disorder. Yeah. They actively encourage it and act like it's a healthy and good thing that is beneficial, because to them, they think it looks good.
Yeah. And so the frustration, and that's why I thought the video was so interesting, I understand, because it's like, for some reason, especially when we're talking about eating stuff, right? Eating mental health things. For some reason, restrictive eating disorders there's no way you can talk about it at all. Yep. But if you talk about someone that's doing, mukbangs, that is respectfully 500 plus pounds, that is clearly has some sort of eating disorder, that is literally profiting off of it online, I can make a video on it. You want to know why I know? Because 80% of my videos are about this, right? Like, I can make a video about that, no problem. And I'm glad, YouTube. I'm not saying you should demonetize that.
Please,
but it's,
YouTube. You just don't take it to even further, YouTube. God.
But it's frustrating, and it doesn't make any sense that talking about the other side, which is, dangerous as well. I get it, right? It's just there's no middle ground. It is just complete no, not allowed to exist, and it just doesn't make any sense. And I think that your video was interesting because you are someone, and you said in your video, you're not super hyper, like aggressive, and feel like YouTube is, some people are, in my opinion, over the top. They're like, YouTube is the worst. They don't do anything right. And I'm like, dude, YouTube, and you said it yourself too, changed my life. If it wasn't for YouTube, I want to be able to do the stuff that I do. And I am very thankful. And I feel like, like you said in your video, the fact that it exists is incredible, right? Yeah. But there are still some things that I'm like, okay, this could be looked at, and this should change, because I feel like this is something that could be helpful. Sorry, I kind of ranted there for a little bit. But.
No, absolutely, it's fine. And I completely, obviously I completely get what you're coming from, because I'm coming from the same place. And it's frustrating because, as I said in the video, when it comes to people like Eugenia Cooney, I got the name right there, I think. I think that YouTube are approaching these issues, in my opinion, from a good place in the people at their HQ's heart. Mm-hmm. I think that people there, with these new rules that I've got them up in front of me right now, they came in 2023, and I think they started this because they overall wanted to protect people. They wanted to protect people from going down pathways related to EDs, and they started to shut that down on their platform. I also obviously think it was a financial reason. I think that YouTube didn't want to have another apocalypse. They didn't want to risk losing advertisers once again, and I get that. And honestly, even if they implemented these rules in 2023, I can forgive that if YouTube just decided to look back on those rules and think, okay, maybe it's time to change them and update them and add some nuance into them. Because from what I can see in these rules, it basically says that you just can't talk about eating disorders or restrictive eating or calorie-related things on their platform. And that is inherently problematic, in my opinion, because by trying to protect people, they are potentially harming a lot of people out there, because now we're having a problem of where there is now a vacuum of where there is no information that is actually on YouTube speaking about these types of issues where it could be helping someone. People could be learning about these eating disorders in a positive, scientific way of why these things happen and how they can help these things if they are possibly dealing with these things. But now, because YouTube are age restricting these videos, obviously no one is going to want to talk about these topics, and they're going to avoid them as much as possible, because age restriction inherently means no one is going to watch your video bar a few people in your core audience. And I'm sorry, but on a website like YouTube, the whole point is to want people to watch your videos. So by YouTube doing this, they're just, in a way, inadvertently censoring the conversation surrounding EDs.
Yeah, I think more than what needs to happen, in my opinion, is there just has to be some sort of tweaking that happens, right? We need to I agree. I don't think that it should be floodgates open, because I think that that can be dangerous. I think this is a perfect example, I feel, of a site that did end up being like, hey, we need to moderate this a little bit more because it was getting out of hand, which was TikTok, right? With the skinny talk stuff. They recently got rid of that, because I do believe it was becoming incredibly toxic, especially for young women, right? It was just becoming literally glorified eating disorders. That's basically what skinny talk was becoming. So I'm not saying that they, open the floodgates, but I feel like there needs to be some sort of tweak to the algorithm or whatever AI system they're using, right, to flag these things, because it feels like right now it's just, oh, that's a dirty word, right? You can't even say eating disorder, really, right? Almost positive this podcast will be, all of those things will happen to it, right? But at the same time, it's trying to have this conversation without saying the word is miserable. It's so not fun, right? It feels weird saying the word, knowing I'm being recorded, because I've done this for so long, and I've always been it's the what,
eating
or
When it comes to YouTube, there are so many words that people try to avoid, but I genuinely believe eating disorder is the biggest buzzword on this platform. You can say porn, you can say fuck, shit, cunt, whatever, but you can't say eating disorder. And it's incredible because, again, we promote so much conversation surrounding mental health, but when it comes to a certain part of mental health which isn't, as publicly acceptable to have conversation about, then we don't have that conversation. And I think that's why I was so frustrated and almost angry in my video, because it's like, well, why am I allowed to speak about anxiety, but I'm not allowed to speak about my issues with binge eating? And it's also like, why am I being punished for potentially even just speaking about my own personal issues? How is that fair? I don't understand, on a platform that built its whole foundations on broadcasting yourself, why they are doing this. I get the protective attitude towards people, like you mentioned, because of things like on TikTok with skinny talk and stuff like that. But a website like YouTube, which I, in my original video, said is a miracle to exist, should, in my opinion, have more nuance in their rules. For example, we have nuance when it comes to terrorist-related content. Now we're definitely getting demonetized, but we have nuance when it comes to terrorist-related content on this platform. Obviously, you can't upload videos of you committing an attack. That would be illegal, obviously, and completely wrong. But a content creator can upload a video of them talking about said current events, and they would most likely get monetized. Maybe they wouldn't get the best ads, but they would get monetized, they wouldn't get age restricted in most cases, and they would be able to continue to grow that video. I don't get why that isn't as sensitive as the conversation surrounding binge eating. And I mentioned in the video, and again, it comes to a phrase which obviously hasn't aged well on YouTube, but it very much is, in my opinion, it's either all okay or none of it's okay when it comes to these topics. I think that if we're going to promote a conversation surrounding mental health awareness, we should be allowing the conversation about every mental health issue. And it's incredibly ironic because I'm going to now read out YouTube's official blog post from April the 18th, 2023. Now, I'll send you the link as well so you can read it along with me. But it's like a really interesting read because it starts off by saying, an updated approach to eating disorder related content on YouTube. YouTube is updating our approach to eating disorder related content to create space for the community, recovery and resources whilst protecting viewers. Mental health issues like eating disorders can be isolating and stigmatizing for people around the world. YouTube is an important platform for raising awareness and understanding of eating disorders from a variety of perspectives, and we want to empower creators to continue to share their stories. Because people come to our platform with unique experiences, the same video can affect people in different ways. A video about a creator's eating disorder recovery journey can help start an essential conversation for some that makes them feel less alone, but may be triggering for others. This is especially true if it includes specifics about disordered behaviors. In the coming weeks, YouTube will be updating our approach to eating disorder-related content informed by third-party experts in a way that we believe creates space for community recovery and resources whilst continuing to protect viewers. We work with experts such as National Eating Disorder Association and that's another language, to develop a comprehensive framework that involves expanding the scope of our community guidelines, age-restricting certain videos, and surfacing crisis resource panels under videos discussing eating disorders. So what that basically says, in fact, they have a whole section here saying that age-restricting certain videos about EDs. Content that contains EDSA or discuss disordered eating behaviors in the context of recovery may still not be suitable for all ages. So we're introducing age restrictions on certain content about EDs. As a result, some videos will not be available to viewers under 18 if you're signed out, or if the video is embedded on another website. For example, we may age restrict videos where a creator details disordered eating behaviors they've engaged in while sharing their recovery journey.
Yeah, that's what happened to me.
I don't understand how this whole little blog post started off with them basically stating that they value conversations surrounding mental health, but they are now pretty much making it impossible for people to get their stories out there about their mental health related issues. But another issue that I had a lot of people come into my comments with is YouTube are seemingly under the belief that people below the age of 18 do not suffer with eating disorders. And also, by restricting this conversation away from people below the age of 18, it promotes eating disorders for people below the age of 18, because there's now an inability for children to watch videos simply educating them about eating disorder awareness. Kids can't watch these videos now because YouTube have said, we're trying to protect you. But then they're going to go on other platforms like Twitter and TikTok, where there isn't as much regulation, and see the content anyway. But rather than it be educational content, it's going to be content where it's actually promoting these things. Where YouTube, in their own regulations, are word for word stating that when somebody is positively speaking about their recovery, they're still going to censor it. It makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
It's one of the most batshit, like, contradictory things I think YouTube have done. And they say that they've done this, sorry to keep on rambling, but they say that they've done this with third-party regulators. And I'm like, you've got to fire those guys, or at least hire someone else, or just go off your own personal beliefs. Because in my opinion, what's going on here is just endangering people. But that's my rant over.
It just reminds me of like, with like not being like, oh, kids can't learn about this. It reminds me of like sex education in like certain states where it's like, yeah, we just teach celibacy. That's the way to do it. And it's like, well, it's not going to work, you know. Kids are still going to get freaky, you know, and they're going to end up pregnant, or they're going to end up with whatever because they weren't trusted to learn about this yet, because they don't understand it yet. And it's like, dude, okay, in the perfect world, maybe, but that's not where we live. We live in the real world where kids are going to engage in those things. And so it would be better for them to understand the dangers and how to be safe and all of that stuff, and not just think, no, they shouldn't do it, so we won't tell them about it and they won't even know it exists. It's like, come on, dude. Like
this whole think about the children attitude that has it definitely, like, not to get political, but it definitely stems from a lot of conservatism, in my opinion, of where people are under this old-fashioned belief that kids and teenagers are these innocent little cherubs that have never been involved in any sexual-related things or mental health-related things. But the way to prove that's not true is just think about when we were all kids. We all went through a lot of us went through our own struggles. Some people would have engaged in certain activities when they were below the age of 18. It's a perfectly normal thing that happens. And if we start to restrict conversation about over the mantra of protecting children, all you're going to do is harm children in the long run. You're going to get fully grown adults that have no idea about the issues with eating disorders, and they themselves may actually have an eating disorder and not realize it, and not know how to find any help or education for the thing that they're currently suffering with, or understanding about why they're acting in a certain way, or why they're eating in a certain way that isn't, you know, necessarily the most normal way of eating. I honestly think it's like one of the more frustrating things, because as you said earlier, like, I'm not somebody that wants to come on here and just bash YouTube for the sake of it. I've never made a video before that one bashing YouTube, but this is just so silly. And taking it back to Eugenia again, it kind of frustrates me, because we've seen a situation with her where she's gone through a very serious incident. Obviously, there's a load of speculation surrounding it, but we are witnessing a content creator progressively, it's hard to say, but get closer to a very perilous position, I'll say. And we are, as content creators, in my opinion, responsible, especially the commentary creators, responsible for talking about these things and raising awareness surrounding these things, not just to help the content creator in that position, but also to make sure that these things are known about, to know that these things do happen, and to spread awareness surrounding them and education surrounding them. Like, I'm not claiming that me or you are like these angels on YouTube that are spreading nothing but good, but I just find it bizarre that all forms of conversation has just been completely cut off by YouTube.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just like, I think most people, what will end up happening is, especially commentary, right? Let's be realistic here, right? Most people will make a video about the situation, get demonetized, and be like, all right, I'm never going to make a video about her again, right?
Yep.
Or that situation again, right? But obviously we're talking about Eugenia right here, right? So I'm never going to make a video about Eugenia again, regardless of what happens, because it's pointless, because the video is going to get demonetized. And like for most people, you know, especially if this is their livelihood, they're even, like, yeah, getting demonetized isn't the worst thing in the world as far as, you know, videos, you know, reaching people. But it certainly affects it, and the person's not making any money off of it. And majority of people that are making content and commentary videos, like the reason they're doing it, let's be real, is because they make money off of it. Like, you know, like there are certain things, like I know that you talked about in your video, a big reason why you want to talk about it is because, you know, there is that level of like personal, like you've had you feel like you've had kind of similar experiences, and you feel that it's important. And
well,
I agree.
When I went into making the video, I knew the video would get demonetized. In fact, I was more surprised that it didn't get demonetized instantly on upload, because every single Eugenia Cooney video that I made in the past was demonetized. So I was coming into it under the firm belief that I wouldn't make money, but I am under the belief that content creators should make money for their work. I think that if they're putting the effort in to make this content, regardless of what they're talking about, okay, maybe there are some things, but, you know, I think for the most part, 9 times out of 10, they have the right to make money off their, in some cases, what is journalism. Like, not all YouTubers and commentary creators are journalists, but, you know, a lot of people out there make very deep videos, which requires a lot of research and a lot of effort, and I think they deserve to be financially compensated for that. On top of that, also, I hope that they care about the topic that they're talking about. As you said, I know a lot of content creators in this space definitely don't, which I don't really care about. Maybe 5 years ago, I would have had more of an issue with it. But honestly, now I'm just like, if someone's making their like slop commentary video and they want to make some money, I don't really care. Go for it. But yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's just like, obviously people can choose to watch it or not, but that's just the reality. The reason I share that is because that's just the reality, right? That's what will happen. And I know that was a big part of your video, is the frustration. That means that this is not going to get talked about. And it you know, it hasn't very much. And I do think that a big reason for that is because whenever you do talk about it, you get demonetized. And that's just very demotivating. Like it's demotivating. Obviously it sucks. You're not making money, but then it just sucks because now, you know, your video is going to get maybe half the amount of views it normally would, maybe a lot of times even less than that. And then you're just like, well, what's the point? I put all this effort and time into this thing, and now no one's going to see it anyways. And especially if it is something, say it is something you really care about, and it is something that you put a lot of effort into, and it is, you know, because like I would say the majority of people that are on YouTube, well, I don't know majority, but there are a very large amount of people on YouTube that are making videos that they do genuinely care about and they put a lot of effort into, and it is incredibly I guess demoralizing would be the word, to feel like you put all this effort in and then it's just sucks. And there's nothing you can do about it, right? Like when you're a YouTuber, I mean, unless, I don't know, like I'm not a huge, gigantic, massive YouTuber, right? But for the most part, I think most people that are on YouTube, you don't have anyone to reach out to really that's going to be able to actually help you. Like, you're just kind of like, you just kind of have to be like, okay, I'm going to lick my wounds here and move on, because, and I know you said that in your video, it's just, that's just kind of how it goes. And that's, you know, imagine if you know, spent a whole day at work and they're like, oh yeah, you know what you did today? You're not getting paid. Yeah. Okay.
In fact, we're not even gonna look at your work. We're just gonna throw it in the bin.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's just like, it is demoralizing. It is frustrating, and it's even worse when it comes to topics like this. In fact, I remember wondering, like, why is nobody covering this topic that I covered in the Eugenia situation? Like, why is everyone not speaking about this? Because 5 or 6 years ago, this would be the talk of the town. This would be a major commentary talking point, and it comes down to what you said earlier, of the videos will just get age restricted and demonetized. And I thought maybe, you know, it's 2025, YouTube might have relaxed on their rules, but clearly not. And clearly this conversation is just going to be just lost in, you know, with a load of other things, that whatever happens in the world and people are going to forget about it. And it's going to come to like 2026. There's going to be another story of Eugenia of where people are like, oh, she's doing even worse. And it's like, well, you know, at what point, like, I'm not saying YouTube needs to be blamed, but it's like, you've restricted so much conversation surrounding her. It's like, what else was going to happen, you know? Which is bizarre and horrible to say, but it's like, when you can't have a productive, positive conversation, you're almost just enabling the things that are currently happening to just prolong into the future.
I wonder if those Shane Dawson videos were monetized, and if they were, if they stayed monetized. You know what I mean? If they're still monetized. I wouldn't be surprised if they were monetized at the start, and then after, like, you know, a few years ago when all this started happening, if they got demonetized. I'd be curious about that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to check now because I am actually kind of curious. I don't think it will be monetized because I don't think Shane is actually monetized on YouTube. But
oh, you can check.
See. Well, you could just go onto a YouTube tab and see if an ad plays. No, an ad did not play. To be fair.
Okay.
An ad didn't play, but an obvious thing to point out is. The video is on 34 million views.
Yeah.
The first second in the video states, the following contains discussions of eating disorders which may be triggering for viewers. It's not age restricted. Yeah. How does that make sense? Obviously, I don't think YouTube are deliberately giving preferential treatment to Shane Dawson. But why is the biggest video on YouTube about Eugenia Cooney not age restricted? But the video in 2025 discussing when she is in a clear, seriously worse situation, why is that one age restricted, considering it has so many less views? It just makes no sense to me. And it does kind of make you feel even more demoralized that the massive content creator gets away with it. But the small, I mean, I know I've got 1 million subs, but in comparison to Shane Dawson, I'm still much smaller. Why is it not the same for me? It is just very, very frustrating.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's frustrating because there's no like continuation. Like it's always, oh, this is the rule right now, and then, oh, this is the rule right now, and for this person we're going to do this, and for that person we're going to do this, and it's just like I don't really know where to stand. I don't know what words I can say, what words I can't say. I don't know how much I have to censor stuff, and it just makes it like, this is not the hugest gripe, but like it feels goofy saying like ED and just not being able to use the actual word. Like why does saying eating disorder become a big deal, but saying ED is fine, or disordered eating is fine? It just is so silly. It's so goofy. Like
that's how you know that realistically they probably don't care as much as I think they do. I think it is just more about appeasing advertisers, which it makes sense, you know, like they are a massive platform and they need to make money, and I get that. But it's like, could you not just do us a favor and just help your content creators a little bit by putting in a little bit of nuance into your rules? I do not think any advertiser out there is going to get upset if they find out that one ad of theirs played on a YouTube video where they talk about their positive recovery in eating disorder, in eating disorders, because that's what like confused me in particular about reading the rules just now. They word for word state that even if you are positively speaking about your own personal recovery, it won't just be demonetized, but it will be age restricted. Again, I'm going in circles now, but it's just so contradictory and so confusing, especially in a time of where, again, I'll say it, we promote mental health awareness, we promote speaking about depression, we promote speaking about anxiety. But when it's eating related, that's like the dirty one, you know? And I think it actually makes people with eating disorders feel even worse, that this thing that they're suffering with on a day-to-day basis and probably will be suffering with for the rest of their life, that conversation isn't allowed on social media, which is just fucking crazy, because their argument is, oh, it could trigger people, even if you're positively speaking about it. But I'm sorry, but depression leads into the topic of suicide. That obviously could trigger millions of people. But we don't age restrict videos speaking about suicide and depression, because why the fuck would we? That would be absolutely insane. So why are we then censoring another form of mental health awareness in EDs or eating disorders or disordered eating, whatever YouTube prefers? It's just so confusing. And again, I think it's just YouTube trying to keep up with what is like, you know, what's the right thing to do now, you know? What's like the societal norm of 2025? Because maybe 10 years ago on YouTube, speaking about suicidal awareness would not have been as popular with advertisers. Now, they probably would go and comment on a YouTube video where somebody's speaking about their depression, which I like. I'm happy about that. But why is there just this cutoff point? It's just so stupid.
Yeah. I get 100% where you're coming from. Has there been any updates on the Eugenia stuff at all?
Not as far as I know. She's just doing pretty much the regular thing. I think it was just like outright denial that anything really significant. Yeah, but which has been like the thing that's happened throughout the entire time with Eugenia. Like it's always been something bad happens.
Yeah, it's just been interesting watching because it was like complete denial, not talking about it. The Shane video comes out. Okay, yeah, whatever. I'm recovering though, so that's why I'm gone or whatever. Or I know that something happened before, but then the Shane video came back and was like, yes, that was true, but I'm getting better, right? But then now it's almost like, what do you mean? I never had anything. I've been. It's just like
that's what I find so crazy. I feel like I'm being gaslit whenever I watch any clip with her and her mother because they are like basically just like, oh well, I've seen clips of Eugenia. In 2022, I think it was a clip of where she was like, yeah, I'm naturally this way. I think it was in my original video about this. I think she was like, yeah, I'm naturally skinny, and it's like, bro, there's a YouTube video out there with 35 million views where you discuss your experience going into a place where they help you with your eating disorder. We've seen this video, and it's like, I maybe can get why Eugenia would be not receptive to speaking about it now, but it's the fact that her mother is also so complicit in this. Like, I don't know if you've looked into her mother before, but she is like the problem from what I've seen. Like, she is just has been enabling Eugenia for so long now, and I don't know if it's financial related. I don't know if she's just not willing to admit that there's a problem there. But either way, it's all incredibly irresponsible, and I think it's going to lead to some pretty dark places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it reminds me. It kind of reminds me, and it makes me realize maybe why she likes Trump, because it just reminds me of what he does. Where it's just like gaslighting and being like, what do you mean? I never said that. It's like, bro, there's all these clips of you saying that. What are you talking about? I never said anything like that. Next. Fake news. Next. Yeah. It's like, that's what it feels like.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense why she ended up supporting him, which was also like a fucking wild move for Eugenia Cooney to support Donald Trump. I don't know where that came from. I don't think she said anything, post TikTok ban conversation about it, because that's kind of what spurred it all up. She like started doing dance videos where she's like doing the Trump dance where he's like where it's like do do do. I think it's like YMCA's playing, which is ironic because I'm pretty sure YMCA is like a gay anthem song. But either way, he's doing a dance. And Eugenia starts doing it on a TikTok, and she's like basically stating that Trump's gonna save TikTok and stuff like that, or to vote to Trump so he saves TikTok, because that was like what a lot of younger people were saying back. Crazy fucking time, man. But yeah, overall, to kind of wrap things up here, I think I am just frustrated, and mainly frustrated in the fact that I know that nothing's going to change, bro. Nothing will change. And I think that's more what I really get annoyed about when it comes to this job of, you can talk about so many things so many times, but nothing. It's the meme of nothing ever happens. Yeah. That fucking meme, bro, is so true. Like, throughout all of the World War III conversations recently, me and my friends in our group chat, every single time there's like an update of like Iran and Israel have gone to war, we're just like, nothing ever happens, bro. Like, nothing ever, like, that shit's gonna be over. Like, nothing's gonna happen. There's not gonna be World War III. And with like anything social media wise, in terms of YouTube, in terms of like this created this terrible thing or did that terrible thing, for the most part, nothing really ever happens. And right now, I am finally coming to the end of working on my big James Charles video to do all the Kill-O-Matic stuff. And throughout the video, I'm just so perplexed that James Charles is in another situation of where he has done something quite clearly really bad, but also he's the guy that messaged 16-year-olds, and it's like, how is this guy never faced any consequence, but it's gotten to a point of where he is still one of the most popular content creators in the space, and ultimately it's because nothing really ever happens.
Yeah, canceling does it really happen? I don't know. Depends on who you ask, I guess.
I think there's been like 7, maybe 6 cases of cancelling actually happening. And I couldn't even name them because some will be like, oh, what about Shane Dawson? But it's like, that guy has a podcast which gets 1 million views per episode. And bearing in mind, the person that edits that podcast is an alleged predator that groomed his fans. I'm not even joking. Destry Smith still edits for Shane Dawson. And it's like, there's never any consequences. There's never any change. There's never any repercussions. So sometimes it does feel like a little bit pointless, but you've got to have hope.
Yeah.
You've got to have some hope.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's definitely something that I'm curious about with Eugenia and the situation. Like, I don't know. It's just one of those things that it's sad because it feels like, you're just kind of waiting for that one headline, and I don't like that. That makes me sad. It just does.
Yeah, I think that's like the really horrible thing of like knowing that something really bad could potentially happen, which is like and it sounds like dirty to say. It doesn't. It's like that's something that you almost feel like you can't say on this platform, but it at the end of the day is the truth. And I feel like if YouTube keep on implementing these rules, it's not just going to negatively impact people like Eugenia Cooney, but it's also going to impact people that just regularly suffer with eating disorders on a day-to-day basis, regardless of if they're an influencer or not. Restricting education and information surrounding the conversation is only going to negatively impact people. I've seen how good AI is now. YouTube absolutely, if they wanted to, could invest a little bit of money into improving their system and make it so still the videos that promote these types of things are restricted, but the videos that just talk about them in an educational standpoint aren't restricted. I know they could do it, but I think it almost just comes out of a lack of care, or maybe just a lack of noise surrounding the conversation. I'm not really sure. Like, I want to think YouTube care, but at the end of the day, I mean, I've spoken to people, I've aired my concerns privately to people, I've never received any form of like positive reception to it, or at least constructive reception. It's just more been the same of, we have these rules in place, nothing can really change.
Yeah, it's like I said, we'll kind of see. We'll see where it goes. That's kind of where I'm sitting on it. Yeah,
but with that, I think we'll wrap that conversation up there, and we'll move on to something more positive. And and there's something more positive than eating disorders. It's gambling. And I bought some Pokemon cards before this. I was walking Kenji down the shop, and I was like, you know what will be a bit interesting? Maybe we open up some packs on the podcast to lighten the mood.
Let's see it.
I bought 6 packs, and I was meant to open 6 of them on this podcast. I may have opened 4 of them whilst I was just waiting to record. So now we've got 2, and I wanted to get like. Good? Oh, I got absolutely nothing, bro. I think the best thing I got was like a shiny Groundon, which was pretty cool. It was all right. All right, here we go.
Have you seen those Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering cards?
Bro, they were in the card shop. So there's this card shop near me that recently opened, and it like every day they're doing like Pokemon like tournaments in there, Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments, like even like other like you just said, the Final Fantasy ones, and they've got that in there. I went in there and there was like this big like box which was just showing all like the cards and stuff. It looked so fucking sick.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I've seen I have a couple friends that on stream they'll open like a few, and I'm not like a Magic the Gathering, like I don't really have any cards of anything, but the art on them looks really cool. So
I just saw like this big, like I think it was like Sephiroth or something. But yeah, all right, so is this gonna focus?
Yep.
Oh, it did focus for once. Nice. All right, so we got that. Don't know what that is. Can we even see these? Something? Is it too dark?
It's a little dark, yeah.
Hold on, let me sort this out. What? All right, that should be better. There we go.
Okay.
What does that say?
Toad Scroll.
All right. What's
Toxel? That? Spinda? Orbeetle? I'm like, I feel like I'm learning how to read.
I feel like we're not. I feel like we're not gonna get a good card here. I feel like I don't
even know how to say that. It looks like Queef.
Queef. All right, nice.
Luxurious Cape. Fancy.
Nice. These are fucking shit.
Onyx. It's a holographic Onyx.
Oh dear, that wasn't a very good pack.
And a holographic. Wait, what's that? That looks cool.
What is that?
I don't know.
Oh shit, I don't know what that is either.
Look it up.
Look it up. Let's get a price value on that, baby. Hold on. It's I've never even seen this Pokemon in my entire life.
There's too many gosh dang Pokemon. Back in my day, we had 150, brother.
We gotta get it back to 150. How much are we gonna go for a value here? I'm gonna say $4.
Yeah, I was gonna say $3 probably.
All right, let's see. Where is it? I'm trying to find the card website. We will get back onto it. See, we've gotten through the main bit now, so we can just fuck around.
Yeah. We have a little bit of an update, but it's nothing crazy. So
yeah, Armor Rouge. Okay, here we go. Where is it? I think this is it. Yeah, I've got it. Oh no, that's the. Oh no. Oh god, this is like the worst EX you could possibly get, bro.
Darn.
$1.70. Gee,
Lame.
I'm not ripping. No, I'm not. What was the other shiny ones we got there? I think the Onyx is pretty cool. I think honestly the Onyx is better.
I mean,
but
I
we
know
got one
Onyx.
more.
I know that guy.
Yeah. This one feels heavy. This is the one I was like, there's got to be something.
Maybe we have one of those gold plates from Burger King back in the day. Remember those that came in the?
No,
I'm showing my age, dude. There was when the Pokemon movie came out. I think it was I'm pretty sure it was Burger King. They did a thing where you like got a Pokeball, and inside the Pokeball was this gold plated like card. It looked like a card, but like dude, it was so.
Don't you miss when like fast food chains used to do like cool shit like that? Like I swear we just don't get that anymore. Do you remember like even like 15 years ago? I don't know if you did it in the US, but when you'd buy a Happy Meal from McDonald's, you get like a Coca-Cola glass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like in the UK we had that like a Coca-Cola like can-shaped glass. It was sick, but they don't do that shit anymore.
Some of the coolest ones were there was Mulan at I'm pretty sure it was McDonald's, and then Burger King had SpongeBob. I think I remember what you. And I had a I got the plankton one, and I was like, hell yeah.
That's so sad. They don't do that shit anymore.
I know.
Fucking capitalism, man. It used to be good.
All right, here we go. Focus up. All right.
I see a holographic, I think.
Snome? I don't know.
A horse.
Mudbray? Minchino? I don't know. Rockruff.
A dog, even.
Morty's Conviction. Shout out.
Rick and Morty.
Shiftry?
Oh, he's cool.
Bianca's Devotion.
Oh, Bianca, I think, is from Black and White, I think.
Okay.
Ooh, what the fuck is that?
I don't even know. I can't read it. Symphoniac something or other.
Well, that is really shit.
Grow.
Oh,
Iron
baby.
Thorns, baby.
Oh, that is
and
shit.
Energy.
I mean, it looks kind of cool. Iron Thorns is like... It's like Tyranitar, but from the future. I mean, I've never had a future card before. That's actually kind of cool. Let's do a value test. I'm going to say 99 cents.
Yeah, maybe 53 cents, you know?
53 cents, man. You got faith. All right, Iron Thorns. Where is this? Do I have to type in Iron Thorns future? Oh, I don't think is it going to come up? Okay, here we go. It is worth, at a grade PSA 10, if it is PSA 10, what was your final guess?
53 cents.
$28.
Oh, okay.
That's if it's PSA 10, but
most likely
that's not that bad, man. Most likely not. Wait, is that too dark now? That's what it was before, wasn't it?
I think that's good.
I think it was not that bad. We made our money back, kind of. It's probably not PSA 10. I don't even know what the fuck PSA 10 is. I think it's like... I used to think it was like if the card was like bent or something, but apparently it's to do with like the printing quality.
Yeah,
so
like
it's something
how the edges are like if it's centered right and stuff like that. I guess matters.
I have a serious Pokemon addiction. I am like one of those guys that like buys boxes of Pokemon cards and just puts them in my cupboard, and I'm like 10 years time.
Really?
10 years time.
I mean, that's not terrible, you know, because you can even sell the packs, right? Like some people will be like, the packs will end up being super expensive.
I'm not like a scalper who like goes and finds them and ruins a child's dream. I will just like, if I can find a box available, and I will just buy it for myself, because I also like to collect, but it's like, I know for a fact the value is not going to like ever get any lower because it's Pokemon cards, and I think Pokemon will still be popular in 10 years time. Maybe the value in 10 years won't be as high as what I think it could be, but either way, you know, it's a fun little thing. I do it now. I think I've got 5 boxes, which isn't that bad, to be fair. It probably does come to around too much money for Pokemon cards, in my opinion. But, you know, I won't tell my girlfriend how much I spent on them.
Yeah, I haven't collected since I was a wee child. It's been a while for me. I was into Yu-Gi-Oh pretty like a good amount as well.
Dude. I think
feel
Elemental
like those
Heroes
aren't really around. Like, I don't feel like that. Why is it that Pokemon is such a cultural, like, you know, people collect them and they make money and all, but I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh it's just not like that.
I think it's because like Pokemon are honestly, I think for one, it's the video games are just better because it's catching and collecting and they're like your little pets. Whereas Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like, it is a little bit more niche, like monsters coming out of cards. It's not as exciting for some people. I personally think it's fucking awesome. Yeah. I think the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, like, dude, top tier shit, man. Like, so fucking good, bro. Yes. I think GX and the original, that for me is like some of my favorite anime. Yeah. Yes, the 2 intros, game on, get your game on.
It's
like,
so good, man.
So fucking sick.
And apparently in other places, they didn't say, I'm going to send you to the Shadow Realm. That just meant they were dying. But apparently in the US,
for real?
The Shadow Realm, like, they couldn't say that. I don't know if maybe I got, but I'm pretty sure that's like a thing. Like in other places, like I think maybe Japan is where it's from. I think they're just like, you're just dead. And then we were like, no, it's too much.
It is interesting when you see like Japanese translations into anime. Like sometimes it's just like a completely different sentence to what they're actually saying, just because that shit wouldn't fly in the UK. I mean, or the US. I mean, there was that episode of Pokemon where they have guns and it was like banned because why the fuck were there guns in the Pokemon anime? But yeah, no, I in terms of like cards, I wouldn't say like I'm a collector. If I see Pokemon cards available to me, I will probably buy a few packs. And I feel like I have pretty good pack luck, to be honest with you. I've got like a little booklet where I store my like favorite cards and stuff. And, you know, I honestly don't know anything about the half of them. I think they just look cool and are shiny. And that to me just tickles something in my brain. And it kind of keeps me away from actually being a professional gambler for a bit.
Yeah. What do you have one card that's like the best one you have?
I do. It's a Charizard card, obviously. It's fucking beast. I bought, and this is what kicked it off, actually. So I was like there's like a place called Forbidden Planet in the UK. It's like a little store where they sell like anime stuff, like, you know, pop culture stuff. And I saw that there was like some Pokemon cards available. So I was like, I'll buy a pack. It cost me like £5, which would be like, I don't know, $7. So it was a bit of an older pack. And yeah, I opened it, like a $400 worth Charizard card. And I was like, fucking nice one.
That's crazy.
Nice.
The first one you bought?
First one I bought. And I was like,
that's
man.
They got you with that.
Literally.
First one, and now the addiction starts.
Yeah, everywhere where I go, man, I pick up some Pokemon cards now, and I've never got... Well, I did when I was in Manchester with some friends a while back. There's like a retro store there, and I bought some packs there, and I got some pretty good pulls, like a few like $100 ones. And I was like, and honestly, the hilarious thing is, it's like, you're like, oh, it's worth this much money. I am never going to sell it. Ever. Like, who's going to buy that shit realistically, unless I put it on eBay? But either way, I was pretty happy with it. It's like gambling, but I'm not making any money.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'd rather do that than bet on like sports, which, I mean, I also occasionally bet on sports, but, you know, that's like an accumulator for about £1 every now and again.
Yeah.
Sue me.
I'll hold my judgment.
There's the next episode's going to be about my bankruptcy. We're going to have a GoFundMe link in the description. But I know that you want to talk about our favorite person on this podcast, and she has been up to a lot. And yes, of course, it's Amberlynn Reid. And I was watching your video on it whilst walking the dog earlier, and which honestly is a privilege. I only watch elite videos on my walks, but
thank you so much.
I was
that's why you watched 3 minutes, and you're like, okay, I'm out of here.
I watched about. I think I watched all of it like as up until when I came home, and then I played Mario Kart. But yeah, so there was a quote in it where Amberlynn says, Where is it? I said it to you. I said, don't know why, but Amberlynn saying she's calorie deficiency cracked me up. It's
Dude,
like she's fucking allergic to calories.
I mean, the thing with that is that I'm almost positive, and I think I saw comments about this. Like, I'm almost positive she knows that it's wrong. I think it's just to get, to annoy people, and it doesn't really annoy me. It's just funny to point it out. Like in my video, I was like, it's not deficiency. You're in a calorie deficit. It's different, but. I just kind of wanted to go over like where
what's been going on.
Yeah, what's been going on, because I mean with Amberlynn, it's usually never anything like crazy, to be completely honest. But I think it's worth like kind of talking about. So like the things that have happened recently, right?
Yeah.
Is that I have her page open on my thing, because I mean she uploads pretty frequently, but then she actually took a break, which is part of the thing that has gone on.
Mm-hmm.
But so she recently, some of the things that happened is that she came to the realization through a doctor that she has a thyroid issue, right?
Yep.
And so, a lot of people were like, the reason that was funny was because she's for years said that she has a perfect thyroid, no issues with her thyroid, and then she says, okay, now I actually do have issues with my thyroid. And she said, the reason that I always said that I didn't have any issues with my thyroid is because I go to the doctor and they would say that we ran your labs and everything's fine. And she was like, well, I feel like that means your thyroid as well, right? And so that was like a thing that kind of happened. But she has also, as Amberlynn does, she has been on like kind of a weight loss journey, and she was, weighing herself. She was like doing this series for like 10 weeks where she was weighing herself, and she was like every single week weighing herself and having like a full day of eating video and all of this stuff. Right. And, the weight wasn't really moving much, but she was going down, which is what she said. But what ended up happening that was pretty funny recently was that she uploaded a video that was titled, "I don't know what my real weight is," right? And that was obviously interesting. So what she claims ended up happening was that the scale at her house was actually broken, right? And she didn't realize it, but she started to feel like there was something wrong because she would step on the scale and it would say, in the 300s, right? And she was like, I know that I'm at least, I'm over 500 pounds for sure, right? That's why, she has this specific scale that can weigh, I think, up to 700 pounds, right? So she has a specific scale that speaks and all this stuff, like makes it, it's like built, it's like wider, it's built for people that are bigger, which is great. Yeah. I'm glad that exists, right? And so that was obviously very funny, but the way that she found out that there was definitely something wrong was she ended up going to the doctors. And what was funny was that she's telling this whole story, and she says, I found out that my scale wasn't working because I went to the doctors and they told me what my weight was, and it was much heavier than what the scale at home said.
It's got to be like a devastating feeling, though, like to think that you're,
Yeah, but she never says what the weight is, which again, like she doesn't have to, but it's just like with her, she talks about her weight so much. It's like, why are we like, so obviously there was a lot of speculation as to what the weight was. And then so, but then she uploads a video. My health has gone downhill. I feel my weight gain, and my thoughts on Tammy Slayton, I think one of the 1,000-pound sisters or whatever, right?
Tammy Slayton, right?
Yeah. And so she's kind of talking about her weight again. She doesn't share her weight. And people are like, what? Okay, what is, she doesn't share her weight still. Right.
Oh,
and then
I thought she did. This is okay. Sorry.
Then she disappears for like over a week, like a good amount of time.
Yeah.
She disappeared for a good amount of time. Right. And then everyone was like, what happened? Right. People were like very much so speculating as to like what could be going on here. So she ends up coming back to YouTube, and I'm back where I've been. So what ended up happening is she ended up having some very serious dental issues where she had a tooth that like basically decayed in her mouth and she had to get it removed. Fair enough. It happens to everyone. It is what it is. Right. Again, still hasn't said how much she's weighing. It just has like, there's just no information on it. Again, uploads a video. This was a couple days ago. So she uploads that video. I'm back. And then again, she's gone for close to a week, which for her is not normal. So then people are like, what is going on, right? And then 2 days, so now it seems that she's back to being a little bit more like on top
Amberlynn
of it.
is like one of the most consistent content creators.
Yeah,
of all
usually
time.
like
if I'm gonna
3 to
be
4 uploads of videos a week.
Yeah, like if there's one thing to credit Amberlynn Reid for, she is a chronic poster. Like if there's one thing Amberlynn is addicted to, it's posting.
Oh yeah, and like I mean it. You know, it's nice for people that react to every single video. I can't really talk because I react to quite a few of them, but you know, it definitely makes it easy for people that like, you know, every single video they're gonna sit there and talk about it.
I mean, I think it's very obvious that Amberlynn knows that her channel is basically like a TLC show at this point. It's like there's like a new episode every week of like, what is Amberlynn doing now? Like, what crazy thing is and. I know people in her community, and I as well have problems with Amberlynn and have had problems over the years, but there is like a part of me that kind of admires the fact that she does definitely play into things. Like, I think that she definitely knows what she is doing, and it makes it more entertaining, but also more frustrating, I feel. Like, when we get into the video that you're going to mention that she comes back on, yeah, I want to talk about her big fucking pasta bowl.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God. Yeah. So, okay. So, but in this, before we talk about that, you know, in this, the video where she's like, not the one she says she came back, the one that she uploaded a couple days ago. It's titled "Getting Hit On by My DoorDasher." Someone sent me flowers, and then I forget what the rest of the title is. But
was it you? Did you send her flowers?
No, it was actually another YouTuber. I guess it was like someone named Pink Vlogs, and it's like apparently like an OG YouTuber from like way back in the day. That they still upload because I was like curious. I was like, who is this person? I've never heard of this person. So I went to their profile and they've been uploading for years. And they were like biggest probably 10, 12 years ago when a lot of like the boyfriend challenge. Me and my boyfriend are going to do.
Are they still like popular? Do they still get views? Or is it like,
you know, they're still on YouTube. No,
that's a sad sign.
Yeah.
That's a sad. Yeah. I think there's nothing sadder than knowing about a content creator from like 15 years ago when you were like a kid and you go to their channel and they're still posting, but there's like 400 views a video.
Yeah,
and they've got like
bad.
1 million subs.
It's not,
but it's like,
it's not bad,
like,
but it's, you know.
The streets will never forget the OG YouTubers. Fred Figglehorn, I'm always here, buddy.
Yep. Yeah. So, so that was interesting. And I think something else happened in that video. Oh yeah. She talks a little bit about Chantal.
Really?
Foodie Beauty, and she's like kind of talking about how I don't want to be like that. I don't want to always have other people in my videos, and people were commenting like, "Oh my God, this next era is gonna be so boring," because they're like, "What are we even gonna watch?" But then finally, we'll get in, talk about the video that was uploaded today as of us recording this podcast. So it, obviously it's not gonna line up there, but she finally steps on the scale, but she says stepping on the scale, pasta recipe, and my new goal weight, right? And so in this video, she finally kind of updates what the scale said when she was at the doctor's office. I don't remember off the top of my head, honestly. I don't know if you remember. I think it was like 560 something or something
540
like that.
I think
something like that. Yeah. And then she goes on to say that my new weight is this, and it's like 11 pounds difference. So that's really the most important thing. So in a month, because that was about a month ago that all that happened, she's lost about 11 pounds, right? And then in this video, she makes a pasta recipe, and I just think it's what did you think
the
about
craziest pasta bowl I've ever seen. My favorite thing is when she's like, there's not much in it, and she she lists the ingredients, then another one, then another one, then another one. But I've got an issue with both of you. Canned chicken.
I know.
Hey, what the fuck?
The way I see it, okay, how do you feel about canned tuna?
It's all right.
But why is that okay, but not canned chicken?
Honestly, I've had actual like a tuna, like a fresh tuna. I had like I think it was like just a piece of tuna in Croatia years ago, and it made me feel so sick. I was like, this is fucking disgusting. But I love tuna in a can. It's a complete different thing. It's like tuna in a can. Yeah. I refuse to believe that shit is like a real fish. It's not. It's like, it's something that's just been pulled from the fucking center of the earth. And they've just put it in a can and said, yeah, this is tuna. Because have you ever seen an actual tuna fish?
Yeah, they're pretty big, right? Yeah.
They're massive, man. They're huge. And it's like, I refuse to believe they're the same thing, but chicken in a can, there's just something that sounds so dirty about it.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And,
like, it's not, like, I don't think anyone ever's ever heard canned chicken and was like, hell yeah, let me get the canned chicken.
I even at my poorest economic state, if my mum put canned chicken on my doorstep plate, I'm calling CPS.
Dude, okay, I understand.
And they already turned up in the first place, mate, so they're getting told more now.
I understand, but it's one of those things that I do think it's interesting because I knew that there would be a lot of people that comment about that. Because, like, with Amberlynn, anything she does, people are going to criticize, right? And so I try, in the videos that I make, I try to obviously be critical of the things that are worth being critical of, but then show my humanity and be like, hey, I eat canned chicken. I mean, it's not like I eat it daily now, but
when did you last eat canned chicken?
It's been a while. But I
This is like canned chicken gate.
I wouldn't be against it. Like, especially when I was first losing weight, I actually used it a lot.
Is the chicken like seasoned, or is it just like
no?
good old
It's pretty
chicken?
much just like it's. There's a lot of salt in it. Obviously, there's a lot of sodium to help with preservatives. But like the way I used it was like how you would make a tuna sandwich, right? But I would just use chicken. Like
I can't lie to you. I feel like I'm not even in the right place to be mocking you. Like today, I was like hungry, and I couldn't be bothered to cook. So I just opened my air fryer, took 2 pieces of chicken, like big chicken breasts, put some salt and pepper on them, threw them in there, cooked it for about 12 minutes at 180 degrees, and then put it on my plate. And I didn't even use a knife and fork. So I just washed my hands and I just fucking ate it with my hands like a monster. Like an absolute monster, man. So I can't really judge you because I think that's just as disgusting. Yeah. There's like no seasoning. There's no paprika. There's no mixed herbs or anything like that. It's just pure chicken.
Yeah.
Which you could argue that the canned chicken might actually taste better due to like the artificial things being put into it.
And all of that stuff. Yeah. And so, again, like, is canned chicken the best option? But like, you know, what I was trying to say in the video is like, you know, if this is what you want to do, like what I was trying to praise her for in that moment was I was glad that she was at least making her own food, right? Because that's something that she talks a lot about is, I mean, it's weird because she knows that ordering out, because even in this video, she talks about a thing she's proud of and a thing she's not proud of, right? And the thing she's proud of is that she didn't eat out every meal. But what's funny is that she did eat out the first meal, which was poke bowl, right? And so it's like, I mean, yes, it's good to be proud that you're not eating out every meal, but my what I was trying to say is that, you know, I'm glad that she made the pasta at least. I mean, she ended up eating the entire bowl, the entire.
By the way, for the people viewing the pasta bowl she made. By the way, like this is like the least criminal. I think I'm more just entertained by Amberlynn's meal prep, and the pasta bowl she made in the context of speaking about weight loss is like hilarious. Like it is I remember listening, like, because I was walking, I got YouTube Premium, so I could just listen with the app closed. And I was just listening. I was like, I need to take a look at what she's cooking here. So I pulled out my phone whilst walking, and that's like one of the biggest fucking pasta bowls I've ever seen. That is a lot of pasta. Like, I feel like that could feed 4 people. Yeah, 100%.
At least for sure 2. Like easily, right?
I would say there's like minimum 900 calories worth of pasta. Oh there, honestly,
easily.
Yeah, like that's a lot of pasta. And look, I love pasta. I've not ate pasta in a while because I've been very like, you know, doing my own thing, but. I fucking love pasta, and nobody can ever take it away from me permanently. So I can get it. You know, we've all, you know, seen the pasta in the fridge or in the cupboard and just shoved it into a bowl and ate a load of pasta. It's something we all do. But in the context to speaking about your weight,
and so
what are you expecting?
The issue with Amberlynn is that 1 second. I thought I was gonna sneeze and it went away. It's gonna come back.
Bless you, anyways.
Thank you. The issue with Amberlynn is that like, she says that weight loss is the most important thing that she wants to do. It's super important to her, and she makes so many videos talking about it and trying, you know. But then it's like any amount of effort is too much, is what it feels like, right? Like she's proud of herself for not eating out every meal. That's great. But then she's upset with herself because the meal that she did make, she said, I ate too much of it because she ate all of it. And again, it was a lot. And again, like, you know, would I know this if she didn't film this? No, but she did, right? And so it's like, it is what it is, right? But it's like she is allergic to putting in any sort of effort because she has this feeling and fear that any sort of effort is going to become, you know, unhealthy, and then she's going to it's going to become over the top, where it's like, you have to at some point understand that, you know, using her words, when you're in a caloric deficiency, right? Like, if you're going to be in a caloric deficit, it's going to not be enjoyable. That's just part of, like, no matter how, you know, how much you try and make it sustainable and find a way that is, you know, it makes sense and all this stuff, like, it's never going to feel shit. Yeah, it's never going to feel as good as just not being in a deficit. That's just not going to happen.
I'm in a deficit right now, and I feel hungry, and it's not fun because it's like 12 o'clock, and I'm like, I'm probably not going to eat any food like until the morning because I don't really like. For me, it's like I'm not even like bothered about like a fasting time. It's more just like if I eat before bed, I'm going to be awake.
Yeah,
and it's like I just feel like I don't want to go to bed hungry, and I think that's like the worst feeling of like when you're in a deficit. Even if it is just 500 calories, it's like you're just going to feel hungry at points. And it's like, that's not an enjoyable experience. Mm-hmm. But there was something you brought up in your video that did actually like bring me back to when I first lost, like the second time I lost weight. And it's the ease of when you first start to lose weight, how many pounds of weight you lose. Like when you're like a big guy, 300 pounds plus, and you start to lose weight, you said in your video, it's fun. And it is, because when you first start to lose weight, it's not like you even have to track your calories. It's just a case of eating a bit less, maybe making your portions a little bit smaller, making the smarter decisions, maybe using 1 calorie spray instead of using a big load of olive oil or butter. And it's like the pounds just fall off. And like when I first started losing weight, I was like, this shit's fucking easy. I went from 315 to 268. I distinctly remember those numbers so quickly. And I was like, damn, that's insane. And I kind of am, like, being a bit more serious here with Amberlynn, I'm a bit confused with her because I feel like when you're at the weight of 540 or 60 pounds, weight loss should be easy and it should almost be enjoyable, because you get like the serotonin every single day of you've lost so much weight so quickly and you're going through this amazing journey. But it's like, I feel with Amberlynn, because she's been documenting this journey so much, her weight loss journey is no longer a journey and is actually a lifestyle. And that's like the problem she's in, of where she's more seeing this whole thing as this is her life, when I feel like weight loss should really just be like a section of your life. It shouldn't be your entire life. It should be this thing that if you're at a certain weight and you want to lose weight, you go through that process over the year, maybe 6 months, maybe even 3 months, maybe 9 months, maybe 12 months, but that doesn't take over your life. But Amberlynn's now been doing this for like 13, 12 years. And it's like, she doesn't have that enjoyment anymore. And I feel like when you're doing calorie deficits nearly every week or attempting them every week for 10 plus years, that's going to put you in some bad places. That's going to put you like, I feel like you've probably experienced it. I've experienced it. When you first try to lose weight and you fail, it isn't a good spot to be in. And Amberlynn has been repeating that process so many times. And it's just bizarre to me that she never really has fallen into that phase of when you do start to lose weight and it becomes easy and it becomes fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, like, you know, obviously there's a lot of people that would argue that she's not actually trying to lose weight, right? And they just say that you know, she's just saying that she is, because that's, you know, what, you know, if she didn't say it, like, even I feel like she's in a weird position where if she's basically said that, oh, I don't care about losing weight, I don't care anymore, the small amount of people that do enjoy her videos, that like actually watch her because they like Amberlynn and they want to see her succeed, they would probably they would not feel very great about that, right? And then on top of it, it would validate I think, a lot of the quote unquote haters, and she does not want to do that, right? That's not something that she will ever want to do. And so I think that she almost feels stuck, like she has to. And also she is smart enough to know that she literally has to, right? I think that when she says that like losing weight is something that she has to do, she does know that, but that doesn't mean that she is acting upon that, right? And so I think that the position that she's in, it's a very interesting one. And that's why I do find it interesting to talk about her, because she is kind of meta with it. She kind of pokes fun at the, you know, the haters, or in her, she thinks she's poking fun. I think a lot of times she ends up just making herself look kind of silly, if I'm being completely honest. But it's
well, when you've been doing this style of content for like 10 years straight, it's like, I mean, we talk about it because it's entertaining to us, but also it is almost just, as I said, it's like a TV show at this point. It's interesting and entertaining. And sometimes I honestly feel a bit silly when I offer more empathy than maybe I should, because I think it is obvious that, but to me personally, I think she does honestly want to lose weight, but I also think she has a business model there. And I think that losing the weight could potentially damage that business model. And I think that definitely does impact things mentally. Like, look at Nikocado Avocado now.
Yeah.
That, like, he's completely, in terms of, like, the social media space, like, I'm not saying that we were ever at the size he was at, but, like, he's pretty irrelevant in context to now. And I even saw recently he made a video exposing Stephanie Sue, because obviously he just probably wants... Yeah, like, he did that video a week ago, bringing up drama from, like, 5 years ago. And it's like, I think it's clear that he knows that his old business model was what was making him money and getting views, and a lot of that did come down to this whole weight loss thing. Was he going to lose weight? Was he going to gain more weight? What's happening next in the story? But he finally lost that weight, and it was like, okay, the story's done now. We're going to leave. See you later.
Dude, it's so funny that you bring that up, because that sadly is something that does happen, man. Like, this is something that I've noticed even on social media, away from, you know, the Amberlynn Reidness of it and all that stuff, but just like people that are genuinely trying to lose weight. It's something that I've noticed. Like, there will be a ton of support about people that will, you know, they will be like, oh, I'm trying to lose weight. And there'll be so many people that are like, oh, I'm so excited for you. I can't wait to follow along. And, you know, there's all this support at the start. And that support might last 3 months, maybe even a year, you know, but usually, if I'm being honest, it does not last that long. And I'm not saying like the people will have no supporters anymore, but they'll go from their posts getting, you know, hundreds of thousands of views, tens of thousands of likes and everything they post, to then a year later or less than 1,000, which, you know, hey, more than, you know, whatever, it's great. Right. But obviously that support, it just wanes. And it's because it's just, I think it's like people support weight loss like people lose weight. Like, a lot of people get very excited at the start, and they're, you know, very, you know, you're very like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm very gung-ho. I can't wait to, you know, make this happen. And then a lot of people just fall off, you know, and it's like the support for weight loss is very similar. And I think a big part of it is because a lot of times the people that are very supportive of others trying to lose weight are there because they themselves are trying to lose weight. And so they start following people that are trying to do the same thing. And then they themselves, the supporters, are like struggling with their weight. And then maybe they're not really losing weight anymore, and they don't want to follow those people that were inspiring them, because now they don't enjoy watching it because it makes them feel a certain way about where they are in their situation, right?
And that can actually impact the person who originally started that weight loss journey, because they're not getting the serotonin from people being like, wow, this is so awesome. Like, I feel that there is this moment with weight loss where you lose a big chunk of the weight, but you've still got a big part of your journey to go. But because you've lost that initial big piece of weight, that noticeable bit of where people are going up to you being like, wow, you look great now, man, but you still have that next bit to go through, I feel like it's almost like not as desirable or not as easy, because you don't have the same people from before encouraging you, because in their eyes, you've already lost a ton of weight. So you don't need any encouragement. But now you're at this point of where it's not just difficult because your calorie, your total daily expenditure, like for calories, is much lower than it was when you were a heavy weight. So it's going to be more difficult to lose weight, and you're losing weight a lot less slower. But now you're also losing that initial, wow, congratulations, man, you're doing amazing. And now it's just like, well, I've already congratulated you. There's really no need to say it anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, it sounds mental to say that, but I think everyone has experienced that who's lost weight.
Yeah, dude, it's exactly. And it definitely happens in real life. Like if I were to even use myself as an example, I remember when I was first losing weight, almost every time I went out in public, people would comment about it, right? Oh, you looking great. It's so great. It's so awesome. Even people at work and stuff. I don't remember the last time someone went up to me and was like, dude, you look great. Like, it's just like, it doesn't happen at all. And I'm not saying it should, but that's just how it is.
That phase of when you first lose weight is the best phase ever, because everyone's coming up to you and being like, bro, you look fucking awesome. And like, you could be at a point of where you're not personally satisfied, but everyone sees major progress and like a big difference. And it's like, I kind of like, I get why we don't go up to people and be like, you look great, but like, I feel like if you know your friends on a journey, and even if they're like long into that journey, I think my bit of advice to people would be maybe give them a little compliment. Maybe be like, hey man, I can see you're working hard and doing well, because I feel like even if they're a year or even 2 years into their journey, that can do a lot for a lot of people. Like, I know for a fact, I've been losing a bit of weight recently, like getting that that last, I mentioned earlier, that last part, I've got a bit of belly fat. Like, yeah, there's some loose skin there, but mainly there's quite a bit of belly fat there, and love handles, and I would love to get that off. And I've lost about, let's say, coming up to 20 pounds, and I've received no comments, which I'm not asking for, of course, but it's like, it's because it's like obviously not visible fat that you're losing. Whereas when you first lose weight, there's a lot of visible fat that goes. But if somebody did come up to me and be like, man, you're doing great, you're smashing it, it's like, that would very much push me even further. And I don't really know why, because like, I already knew that I was doing well, but by somebody else noticing it, I think it's more like, if other people if someone else is noticing it, then you clearly have progressed, you know? And I think that's probably why it has so much impact, because you can notice it, but until everyone else is no longer seeing you in a certain way, it's like, it almost feels not that valuable, which is kind of sad. It is, but it is just how the human brain works, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's something that I think is very interesting, and it's only become like exacerbated really with social media, because it's so, it's so common. Obviously, people are a lot more comfortable saying nice or mean things on social media when they're kind of, they're anonymous. And so it is something that I've noticed. And so, like, tying it back to Amberlynn Reid, I think that I think that, like you were saying, I genuinely don't think it's an intentional thought of like, oh, I don't want to lose weight because I will lose followers. I really don't think she's thinking that far in advance. I think it's more, basically, it's just an easy way out to just be like, I'm just going to eat this thing, whatever. I'm going to do that because it just doesn't really matter. Like at this point, it doesn't really matter if Amberlynn loses weight or doesn't. There are people that are going to be there that are going to watch. I obviously her views as far as like where she was versus like a few years ago, I feel like it might be lower, but I don't know. Like, I feel like it's been pretty steady, like around 50,000
Yeah,
views.
I think it's
years.
like honestly
like,
been the same for a long time, bro. Like, and even with videos making videos on Amberlynn, they're always gonna do well from what I can see. Like, there just is a consistent audience there who want to discuss Amberlynn, and she knows that. And it's like a cycle of like, it almost like the audience and Amberlynn kind of bounce off each other in a way. And even if she lost weight, as you were saying, I don't really think much would change, because at the end of the day, when it comes to Amberlynn, I think most people are more interested now in her personal life than the weight-related stuff. I feel like the weight stuff almost at this point is like, to some people out there, old news. I personally am still interested in it, because considering Amberlynn still does speak about it regularly, but more people in that community have now moved on to speaking about Amberlynn's personal relations and stuff like that, because Amberlynn does also bring that stuff up. And I see a lot of people like defending Amberlynn, but I don't think she helps herself in like the fact that she does bring up so much private information needlessly, and it's like, what are you really expecting of the internet at this point? Yeah,
she is stuck in a prison that she kind of built herself. It just is what it is. Like, the easiest way for her to get away from all of this would be to obviously stop posting, but clearly that's not something that's going to happen. And
can you imagine if like, So, but can you imagine if one day she just like decided to switch up the content and she just does something completely different? I don't know what. Imagine if Amberlynn Reid started reviewing movies or
Dude,
TV shows.
Yeah,
that'd be fucking awesome.
Or just like completely just started being like, I'm just gonna review video games, and just like didn't even like it would be so interesting, man.
Anime
I don't think that'll
Amberlynn.
ever happen.
She starts reviewing her favorite animes.
Yeah, there you go. You know, but yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen, sadly. But that's kind of the update on Amberlynn that I just wanted to share. I just thought we haven't talked about it in a while, so.
Yeah, no, of course. I've even seen a few comments being like, "When are you going to talk about Amberlynn?" It's been a while, and it has, to be fair, because the first few episodes we did speak about Amberlynn quite a bit, but we've kind of been speaking about other stuff here and there. But I enjoy talking about Amberlynn, and if she's listening for some bizarre reason, Amberlynn, we'd love to have you on there and speak about your favorite anime. What do you think Amberlynn Reid has ever watched a single piece of anime?
I think so. I think so.
What? You talk about Amberlynn quite a bit. What does she like outside of all the YouTube stuff? What does she do and like? Is that like a?
She's really big into Lego. She makes a lot of Lego. Yeah, she builds a lot of Lego. She is definitely a consumer, so she does a lot of shopping online. So like Torrid Halls, which is like a plus size clothing company here in the States. I don't know if they're anywhere else, but and she goes to bingo a lot with her mom.
That's pretty sweet. That is pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'm glad. I mean, I think it's good that her and her mom are having a relationship. That's a whole nother conversation though, with the kind of enabling kind of habits that are kind of going on there. But definitely Lego. I think she is someone that I do think that she wants to be creative, and I feel like she tries to find outlets to be creative, but a lot of times it just is kind of short-lived, you know?
I would love to just have a conversation with Amberlynn Reid on this podcast about her favorite TV shows and movies. Yeah. How weird of a conversation would that be? Like, she comes on here fully expecting us to talk about all the drama, the weight loss, the food, the pasta bowls, the giant pasta bowls and canned chicken. But we just talked to her about Game of Thrones or some shit. I feel like that would almost be like a breath of fresh air for Amberlynn Reid. We could change her whole perspective on YouTube.
Maybe, but I don't know how people would receive it.
Can you imagine the response? How fucking dare you get Amberlynn and not press her on these things? Yeah. People would be like, it would be like we've started World War III if we had Amberlynn on. And I do think this is a bit of a problem that I have when it comes to some coverage of Amberlynn. If you were to interview her and treat her like a human being, people would not be very happy. And that's, I don't know if I agree. Oh no, I don't agree with that, obviously. But it's like, obviously, if we had her on, which we probably never will, but like, hypothetically speaking, we would speak to her about some things. But I think podcasts are a great way to really like learn about someone's personality and learn about who they are as a person, not just from like asking them questions, but from just getting to know them. I like, obviously Amberlynn does her live streams, which are long form, but I don't think I've ever seen her in a long form, just constant flow of conversation. Yeah. And I think that would be pretty interesting to hear, because there are cases on YouTube and social media where there has been influencers with a certain perception about them, and then they randomly go onto a podcast, and it turns out they're complete. But also, it could be the opposite. Yeah. Like, I've seen some content creators out there who had really negative perceptions, and then they go on a podcast in long form, and you get commenters being like, I don't understand why he is how he is in his videos when he's like this in just a regular conversation. And you never know, maybe there would be some good with Amberlynn. So if Amberlynn wants to, I'd happily
come on. We'd love to have it. Yeah, hell yeah, of course. I think it'd be very interesting.
I think if we reached out to her, she probably would ignore our DMs.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
Have you when was the last time you spoke to
her? It's been a long time. It's been a long
4 years, 5 years.
A few years, I think. My business partner. That's kind of where the conversation is through, because I try to keep myself away from it. So
I can get that, to be fair. And I also feel like when you start to speak to the people, it kind of makes it a bit difficult to create content. Yeah. I know it sounds a bit bizarre, but like, I've had times where I've been more involved in the YouTube community than I am now, and I feel like it makes it harder to make YouTube videos, because I I can't, like, it's not because you feel bad for making the content. It's just more like it feels a little bit weird, if that makes sense. And, you know, like even if, like, say if there was like a situation with you, I wouldn't make a video on it. And I know that sounds bad to people, but it's just like, I'd feel weird. And also I would have preconceived biases as well. And I think that makes it a bit difficult to make videos speaking about things, you know? And also I wouldn't make videos about my friends because I have, you know, loyalty, but also the other things that I just mentioned. But, you know, either way, yeah, Amberlynn, come on the podcast. You know you want to. We can talk about your canned chicken. You guys can actually debate me about it if you really want to.
Yeah, I'd love. Yeah, we'll have a debate, me and Amberlynn versus you about canned chicken. Let's do it.
I think that'd be a great conversation. What other like weird food? Did you ever, as a kid, see the ham slices that would have egg in the middle?
No.
We had that shit in the UK of where it's like a watery ham slice, and like you call it ham in the US, right? Like slice it like a ham sandwich.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'll just double check it. And in the middle of the ham, there is like egg, just egg. And I don't like. I'll try and find what I'm talking about.
Is it like an egg yolk?
No. I'm gonna try and find it. If you're like a British viewer, yeah. Oh my fucking god, this shit was disgusting. Now it says, I know pork technically is ham, but this is. I had this. I remember my mum had this in the fridge when I was younger, and I tried it, and I genuinely threw up.
Yeah.
That's
a little weird looking, dude.
It does that not look like the most processed thing you've
Pork
ever
and
seen?
egg,
So,
dude. It looks like bologna, kind of to me.
yeah, to the audience that can't obviously see this, pretty much what it is imagine a slice of ham, but in the middle there is like a sliced bit of egg, but it's like not like an actual like full circular egg. It's just a slice of an egg in the middle, but it's like the most processed ham and egg possible, and it just has a really diabolical taste. And yeah, it made me throw up. So interesting fact for you all.
Dude, yeah, that's I mean, I don't know. I can't really talk because some of the stuff I eat now, people would probably be like, "Oh my god," you know. It's nothing crazy, but like
do you have like a bad common meal that you would have?
Nothing crazy, but like, you know, when I talk about my stir fry, it's like pre-cooked chicken that I just, you know, it's like frozen that I just throw in there. You know, and like frozen vegetables, and then like pre-cooked rice.
I think that's fine.
Like, and so, and then
to be fair,
what's up?
On the rice, I will agree with you. Did you use the rice where you like put it in the microwave?
Yeah.
Yeah. That just makes it easy, man.
It makes it easy, you know. But the thing is, it definitely is not the most cost effective because rice is very cheap if you just get regular rice and make it yourself, because it just requires like some water and salt, really, for the most part. But
when I came
like,
back
I'm just
from
lazy, man. I'm just lazy.
No, same here, man. When I came back from Japan and I had rice every day. Like, you start your day with rice in Japan. Like, you know, you have a bit of onigiri and stuff like that. And I remember when I got back, I was saying to my girlfriend, I was like, I'm buying a rice cooker, man. I'm making real fucking rice, and I'm doing it like proper. And she was like, no, you're not. You're not going to use that. You're not going to. If you do get it, you'll use it for a week at max, and then it will just rot in the back of the kitchen. And, you know, she was probably right, and I didn't buy it because
you didn't buy it. Oh, okay, good.
No, it was the one time where I haven't given in to my impulsive thoughts. But I am going back to Japan later this year, so maybe I'll be radicalized into rice again. Who knows? Maybe I will. Maybe I won't.
I believe in you, dude. I think you should do it.
Maybe, man. Like properly made cooked rice is so nice. Like,
especially like sticky rice. Sushi rice.
Yeah, sticky rice, man. It's the best. Like you put like a little bit of soy sauce, even a bit of butter on top, like where it mounts through us. Such an elite combination. Like sometimes I will just like, even though it's not sticky, I'll just put some microwave rice in the microwave and like put some soy sauce on it and just fucking eat it. And it's like such a stupid meal because there's no protein. There's really no nutritional value. It's processed rice. It's gone through a microwave. I mean, I don't think microwaves do anything, but you know, it's obviously not as good as fresh rice, and it's just easy and it tastes nice. So I'm not complaining.
Yeah, I mean, something that I talk a lot about is making meals that work for you instead of like trying to work for a meal, right? And so it's like it's all about finding what's easy and then obviously healthy. Like, because obviously, yes, it's easy to order DoorDash. Yeah, but like we should have like if the goal is to lose weight and be healthier, that's probably not going to be the best option for you. Especially
Did you see my comment?
Yeah, yeah. It's certainly not going to be the most cost effective thing. I don't. There's no one that can argue that, right? It's definitely more expensive than just cooking at home, right? And so,
but also when it comes to when it comes to making food, you go to the shop, you pick up the food,
Exactly,
you go home, you cook. There is also the element that people seem to forget of. You're losing weight doing that.
Yeah,
you're doing steps. You're moving.
Yeah, you're moving,
like getting
you're
exercise.
burning calories, right? But even more than that, it's just I think the thing that matters more is just the food that you get from stores is going to be higher in calorie almost always than what you would make at home. Obviously, if you make like a literal cake, then maybe not. But I mean, most likely the cake you order online is going to be higher calorie than the cake you make at home, right? And so it's just like that is, I think, the biggest thing and why I recommend people, and this is what I said in the video, it's not like I'm saying you can never order DoorDash again, but just be like, for 2 weeks, no DoorDash. Just to prove to yourself that you can do it. Because there's a lot of people that are like, I don't think I could ever do that. I'm telling you, it's not as hard as you think it is. You just have to plan.
If I had a TARDIS and I could go back in time, I would stop myself when I moved to London from installing any delivery apps.
Yeah.
Because before I moved to London, for myself individually, I had never in my 21 years ever ordered food for myself. Yeah, I would have got like pizza now and again with a friend, like every 3 months maybe, and that was like a luxury, but I would never order food. But since I've come to London, it's almost like the culture here, man.
Yeah.
You're just ordering food, and it's like, it is fucking, and it's not just that, but it's like there's delivery apps on your phone that deliver like supermarket groceries to you where they absolutely ramp up the prices and stuff, and it's like, it is like an addiction, honestly, because it's like an addiction to the easeability of it. It makes your life easier, and you don't have to go through that process of cooking, and it saves time and stuff like that. But it has a health and a financial impact, and I really honestly. If we could make it a segment of monitoring my Uber Eats orders and delivery apps orders throughout the week, that would be great. Like next week,
dude, that'd be so interesting. How many, if you had to take a guess, like weekly average, how many times a week would you say you use a delivery app?
Are we talking like supermarket apps included, right?
If you want to separate them, but I would say like.
I don't want to separate them because the supermarket
and the
okay, so the fast food I would say isn't that bad. Honestly, it's not. I would say right now it's like 1 or twice a week.
Okay.
I don't think it's that bad in the grand.
Bad. I mean, whatever. It is what you do. But like, but there's like with Amberlynn, I think she said she wanted to try and do like 13.
I was gonna say, is that all? Ordering direct food, not grocery apps.
Yeah, it was
okay. Because the
basically
grocery apps
twice a day is what she was doing. She said.
I see. The thing is I went through that phase when I was absolutely obese.
Mm-hmm.
It was so bad, and it was during COVID. But my problem now is the grocery apps. Mm-hmm. It's so bad. Like I honestly will use them 6 times a week. I'm not even joking.
You just order I just need a couple things.
I have a membership which makes it so my delivery is free. So I'm like, I just order anything.
What's the point? Why would I go in?
Yeah. And it's like,
when was the last time you had a huge shop of a bunch of food?
Oh, bro, years ago.
Really?
To be fair, I don't do big shops because the food will just go to waste. So much food will go out of date because I'm not a good preparer. For me, I think what the best thing for me to do would be is to prepare for 2 days ahead, go to the shop with my list, and then come back and then do that repeated process every 2 days. I think that's the best route for me to go down. And it's really, really bad for that. I have a shop downstairs, which is more expensive than a regular shop because it's like a easy shop sort of thing, like where they up the prices a bit. But about 5 minutes or 10 minutes away, I have 2 big supermarkets next door to each other, walkable distance, and I don't do it. And it's like, when you say it out loud, it's embarrassing because it's like, why? It's like so easy. It's like, and you say to yourself, well, I'm saving time. Honestly, like, am
Yeah,
I?
but
Because
what are you doing? You know what I mean?
yeah, when I'm waiting for that food to come, I'm waiting like an hour for it to come, and in that hour, I could have just gone and got it from the shop and saved half the price. So, I think I'll set a goal right now of this episode, and we've got to remember this. I'm going to write it down in that chat of how well, you set the goal. How many do you think?
I think the goal should be that you should. I think it should be less about the delivery apps and how often you use it, and more like, let's set a goal of like going to the store twice this week.
Okay.
Like, I think that makes more sense.
And then we can see how much that limits it. Sort of thing.
Yeah.
Naturally. Okay. I'll do that. My goal is to go to the store, like an actual supermarket, not like a corner shop, 2 times.
And then you have to film part of it, and then we'll put it in the next episode.
I'm a 28-year-old man. How crazy is that, bro? But yeah, okay, I'll write that down. 2 times to go to shop by next week. So I think with the goal there, because I'm a very stubborn person, and when there's when someone says to, I know you haven't said it, but like when someone says to me you can't do something, or you won't do this by then, or something like that, that's when I lock the fuck in. That's when I'm like, no, I am gonna do that out of the pure sheer stubbornness. So I honestly expect by next week, I think that I will achieve that goal, but who knows? Because I am a lazy guy at some points.
But I will say that you definitely will not upload that James Charles video in the next 5 days. All right.
I fucking will. It will be out on Sunday. Wait. You might be right, actually, technically. Hold on. What day is it today? Okay, it's technically Thursday now. So 1, 2, oh god, that's not many days. I will do it. I will do it. By Sunday/Monday, that video will finally be out.
Okay.
And yes, it covers a story that's already come and gone. Who cares? We're gonna get it out anyway.
We're gonna get it out, and then we're gonna move on. All right.
Yeah, and then we're gonna start. I have a video planned where I actually want to talk about it in the next episode. I want to talk about Cody Co, because I think that's a very interesting thing. There's some things that haven't been spoken about with Cody and some other influencers that I want to talk about. So yeah, I've got a whole load of videos that I've planned to make, but it's just this one James Charles video that just. Do you ever have it with a video that just is in the way of other videos? Yeah, and it's kind of like that right now. But yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. I think we've talked about everything that we needed to talk about, and now we have a goal for next week. And also, maybe I'll pick up some more Pokemon cards for next week's gambling edition.
Sounds good.
But yeah, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We really do appreciate the reception to the last episode. If you're new here, please subscribe, please like this video, and please comment your thoughts down below. And also, if you could, let us know what you want us to talk about next week, because it just helps us out, to be honest with you. And yeah, thank you very much. Anything to say?
Thank you, guys. I love you, and I think you all look great.
Bye-bye.